Okay, this is the song assignment Prelude in C major. I'm going to play through the entire song at a normal speed so you can get a sense of how it sounds overall. So a couple things is this song is designed for really 5-finger patterns. You do have to move around a little bit in your left hand, especially at the beginning, but all of these are within a 5-finger cluster, so you shouldn't be extending your hands. I'm going to play through the first few measures a little under tempo, much slower. So for those first 6 measures, the right hand, of course, has the same measure, the same phrase in 2 measures, and it's repeated 3 times. Your left hand moves down in thirds. It's the same interval distance, still a fifth. So practice skipping one of those notes, and then in measure 7, it goes back up 1 note. Okay. And of course, at measure 9, the song basically repeats itself, just like measure 1, except the dynamic change is quieter. So make sure that you change your volume significantly in measure 9. Your right hand doesn't move around that much in the first part of the song. At measure 13 is the only place where you start to shift on the first page. But again, it's within a 5-finger pattern, so just shift your hand up 1 note at a time, and that'll cover the rest of page 4. So I'm going to play through this first part of the song again, the first 16 measures, a little slower than I did originally, so you can play along at a slower speed. Check your notes if you already learned those. I'm going to take this at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so that's the end of the first page, and if you notice at the end, of course, there is a crescendo to forte. I'm going to concentrate on the second page now. So at the top of the second page, the left hand now gets the 8th note pattern. That you play, it's the same 4 notes repeated in 2 measures, and then you start shifting down. Measure 20 21 you shift down again to the F. And the only measure that's a little different is measure 23. Your pinky goes down to an E and you hear. And so that's where the pattern is broken slightly for one measure. I'm going to play those first two lines at the top of the second page. Now at measure 25, your right hand goes back to playing the eighth note pattern. Your left hand goes back to holding these intervals. And then at measure 29 is where you have two treble clefs. Your left hand, if you go back to measure 25, starting on F and C, measure 27, you go up to G and D. Measure 29, when you're in the treble clef, really it's an A flat and an E flat, so you're just shifting up one half step. You don't have far to go between those two measures. So just be careful when you see the second treble clef for the left hand come along. You don't have far to reach. Your left hand just continues up, and then it goes back to eighth notes for a little bit. And this is the last line. You're still on middle C. It goes up to C and G, and now you have two bass clef signs. Your right hand goes down into the bass clef range, your left hand goes down into the bass clef range, and you end up on C and G, 2 octaves below middle C. So the ending, you might be concerned with the beginning of the song and getting control of both hands, but focus for a while on the last two lines of the second page, where you have to shift around a little bit more so you feel comfortable with those changes. I'm going to play through the entire song now at something similar to the first speed that I set, maybe a little bit on the slower side, so you can play along with me if you're doing that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Just for fun, just to show you what a difference in tempo can do to the overall sound. This says at the beginning, notice it says lyrically in 2. So it is supposed to move along at a fairly zippy pace so that it feels not like 4 beats, but in more of a cut time feel. So if you just want to sit back and listen to it, this is what it would sound like if you pushed yourself in terms of tempo and had a really good grip of notes. It might sound like this.